Nice. Hey, beautiful. So, you had a chance to video yesterday. If you hung out with me,
You're
um,
glitchy.
there we go. And you can turn off your cameras now too, because I love seeing you guys, but I know once class starts, my computer is very glitchy. I love using the emojis as letting me know if you understand things. So yesterday, we talked about you had a video on the Nez Perce, and you got to read about the Nimipu homeland. I don't know why, but the word Nimipu homeland or the words Nimipu makes me just kind of smile each time. I've been actually saying that word to my baby just because I think it's just such a great word. So some of the things we're going to need today is you're going to need your vocabulary journal. You are going to need the handout, Nimipu Homeland and Legend Times, that should already be in your notability. But I want you to put in your notability actually, you don't have to put it in notability, but we are also going to need this handout 5B exemplar information paragraph. If you want to put it in notability, remember I have everything in the folder below. Okay, so I'm going to export this to my notability. I have it. The other ones, vocabulary and the art from yesterday, you should already have in notability or in your book. If you are a workbook person, that is wonderful. But we are going to look at this exemplar paragraph today. So we got to read about the Nimipu homeland yesterday and some of those cultural experiences. Oh, I don't have the Nimipu homeland in here. I will have to get that. And you were supposed to finish by writing the acronyms S, F, P, and some other ones, looking at some of those cultural pieces. Okay. We are going to continue with that today, and I want you to share what things you did with Miss Foley yesterday, or with me. Okay, so let me put my Nimipu homeland in. And if you didn't get a chance to fully write down those words or those letters, we're going to start out actually reading our Nimipu homeland and looking at it a little bit more in detail again today. So here we are. We have thunder rolling on the mountains. Is
You're a little glitchy.
It's because this is loading. Okay. So one of the things you did yesterday is you created an I Wonder chart and you watched the video of a landscape of history. So, ladies and gentlemen, I got to hear with my students, I think I had 4 people here who wanted to work with me. But what was something that you wondered with this video? So we're just going to watch the first couple minutes just to remind you. And I want you to tell me, what did you notice or wonder again? We're not going to watch the whole thing like yesterday, but. Are you going to work? So again, tell me, what did you notice or that you wondered? We're not going to watch it all, just a little bit.
A landscape that begins in the deep canyons and fertile valleys of Oregon and rolls like a ribbon through Idaho until it reaches the high plains of north-central Montana. Embedded in the fabric of this land and the people who live here is the memory of one of our nation's most enduring stories. It is an epic story of hope, despair, and ultimately loss of a homeland. Even though it happened long ago, this story remains as current as today's headlines. This is the Nez Perce National Historic Trail, and as you travel the landscape, this journey grows more significant with time.
Okay. So hopefully that refreshed your memory. You can either tell me in the chat or you can come online, and I want you to tell me what was something that you noticed or wondered about this. Harper.
Something I noticed is that they said there were mountains, trees, it was rocky, there was ancient volcanic rock, there was ribbons, canyons, and it was in the Rocky Mountains and the Salmon River, and there was also forest. So that's what I noticed. That was like the landscape.
Ooh.
And then I wondered how long they lived there and what was the volcano
Ooh.
that made the rock.
Those are some great wonders and observations. Does anybody else have anything that you wrote down yesterday? Ooh, Berkeley wrote there was a lot of mountains and canyons. Somebody, and I can't remember who, in my group yesterday had said, so you can claim it if it was yours. I don't see your faces, so names are harder to remember. But they said, I wonder if the people still live there. So if there's still people on that reservation. Riley wrote today, it is known and looked at. Okay. Ooh, cobbler, some states. Yeah.
I meant to say covers. The autocorrect just did that.
Okay. Yeah, it covers many states. So that trail wasn't just one state. And the Pierce homeland, Nez Perce, is, as we found out yesterday, we looked at kind of in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. So this is the current reservation, that little green spot. And so it originally was this big brown section. And then as the west, you can see where it changed. It moved a little bit smaller, and current day is at dark green. Ooh, they lived before horses. They did. Actually, the horses, we never had horses in the United States until the Europeans came over. They brought them over from England and Spain. So that's a cool observation. So, beautiful. So the other thing you did yesterday. So our main question this week is, how do the Nez Perce homeland sustain their lifestyle and culture? So, we can bring up our vocabulary. These vocabulary words you started yesterday. We started writing homeland, plateau, prairie, natural resource, and I believe the word sustain was also in there. So let's pull up our vocabulary and make sure we've got everything. Beautiful! I even have it written down. And what we're going to do is we are going to see these words today, so that's why we are going to talk about them. And let's write down some synonyms or examples. So you should already have homeland. It's a country or place of someone that's originally from. So an example or a synonym of a homeland actually is como like your home. So you can just say home. Let's make this bigger for you so you can do a split screen. I'll make mine nice and big. That way you can see it. Oop.
I didn't do natural resources and substance because I don't think
It was in the video. So if you yeah. So if you didn't get it, you can write it today.
I watched the video.
Okay. So But yeah, so yeah, I had said to make sure you did the first ones, but I know the other ones were in the video. So if you didn't write the ones from the video, we've got it today. And I'm also going to write maybe the birthplace. Okay, so that's a synonym for homeland. Okay, sustain is a word that we're going to see in our articles today, and that is another word, or another word for an example would be, actually, you know what? I think I am going to write a synonym. Ooh. So I'm going to say, to support or to help. Okay, so we have that to support or nourish. Okay, so a lot of the cultures, I'm going to write an example, cultures, we wanted to sustain. So cultures, we want to sustain. And you actually help sustain your cultures in your house by having traditions or maybe a language. Okay. A plateau. Ooh, we don't have very many plateaus in Minnesota. Actually, Minnesota is very flat when you compare to the rest of the United States. But a plateau is a flat land. In general, I've got lots of windows open on my other screen. So plateau is like, actually, you're going to hear the word mesa.
Flat land.
Yeah, it's not a flat land. It's like a mountain, but then it's flat. So think of like, I always think of volcanoes when they blow their top and if it fills in. Actually, in Spanish, you hear it a lot with mesa. Okay. And in Scotland, they call it the Highlands. Okay. A prairie, that's what we have in Minnesota. It's like a plain or grasslands. We have a lot of prairie in western Minnesota, southwest. Mm-hmm. Okay. We also had the word natural resource, which was a material that can be found in nature. I'm going to write some examples. Like we got water. I'm going to actually write examples. We have things like water. Maybe it's forests. We have trees, lumber, wind. Okay. So we're going to see again that the Nabipu, most of their stuff is found by nature. And substance, that which supports life or continued operation. So like food is substance. I need substance. I actually have said that a few times. So like food or water to survive. Mm-hmm. What would you guys say you can't live without? What's other substance you guys have? Do you guys know the 5 things you can't live without? Food, water, shelter,
Air.
air. What's the last one? Food, shelter, water, air, and sun. We actually cannot survive without sun. We get vitamin D from the sun, and actually the sun, without it, we would not have plants. And if we don't have plants, literally we can't have any animals that eat plants or we eat plants. So, yeah. Okay, take oh yeah, oh no food at all. I'm hungry. Can't talk about food beforehand. Sorry, guys. Oh. Okay, I will give you about a minute more to finish writing these. I will post these online too if you don't get a chance to. Okay, Beautiful. So, what we're going to do, oh, there's a stain. We are going to reread the Nimipu Homeland. And what I wanted you to do is a couple things. When we read it one more time, I'm just going to quickly read it because you should have done this yesterday. But as you notice, we reread our stuff multiple times. It helps us really get to know our articles. I want you to ask yourself, I wonder why? What does the author mean? And I also want you to write these words or these letters. I'm going to write them here too. That way I can refer back to them. So when we get to a section in this, I want you to write an S for stories. So in here, where is a spot where it talks about stories? Because we're looking at our cultural piece. F for food or drink, so that's sustenance. Hopefully you already did this, so it should be pretty easy. H for homes and shelter. T for if they talk about tools. And C if they talk about clothing. Okay. And yeah, so I'm going to read it and I want you to mark one of these things as we come to it. Questions. Okay, because I'm not going to mark it. I want you to mark it, and then I'm going to ask you guys at the end. Okay. If you would like to read, you can raise your... Actually, you know what? This one I'm going to read, and the other article, I'll take volunteers for reading, okay? I just want you to focus on writing S, F, H, T, or C, okay? Questions. Nimipu Homeland and Legend Times. Long before Meriwether Lewis and William Clark ventured west, before the English established a colony at Jamestown, before Christopher Columbus stumbled upon the New World, the Nez Perce, who called themselves the Nimipu, lived in the prairies and river valleys of the north-central Idaho, Montana, northeastern Oregon, and southeastern Oregon, in an area approximately of 17 million acres. In 1805, when Lewis and Clark met the Nez Perce, they encountered a people of well integrated into their environment. The Nimipu traditions and knowledge of the surroundings were well honed over the thousands of years. The Nimipu homeland, abundant resources sustained their economy, lifestyle, and culture. Ooh, was there in here anything that you could put S, F, H, or T? Legend Times. Nimipu oral history records the presence in the Nez Perce country since time immemorial. Archaeological evidence indicate that people have occupied the plateau culture of the area of the Northwest for the last 11 million years. Okay? According to the legend, the world before humans was inhabited by animals that possessed human traits. The primary animal was the Itziyi, the coyote, who at times had supernatural powers. The Nimibu creation story revealed that when a monster began to consume the animals, Coyote tricked the monster into swallowing him. While in the monster's stomach, he killed the monster and set the animals free. Coyote carved the monster into 2 pieces and scattered the parts throughout the land, where they became the various tribes. The Itziyi left the heart of the monster near Kabaya, Idaho, and sprinkled the blood around the surrounding countryside, and created the Nimipu, the Nez Perce people. These stories provided instruction in the Nimipu culture and often conveyed moral teaching and practical information. Ooh, I think there's a letter that you can write in this area. The Nimipu have been part of this land for countless generations. Their traditional homeland occupied nearly 13 million acres in what is today Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. The earliest people lived in small groups and family units. They were mostly reliant on big game hunting as primary means of subsistence. Starting around 6,000 years ago, many aspects of the Nez Perce way of life began to appear in the region. This included the much broader base of locally abundant plant, fish, and game resources. This shift to a more encompassing use of resources was well adapted to the Nez Perce homeland. It enabled the ancestral Nez Perce to develop a much more sedentary lifestyle, as evident through the emergence of large winter village sites and increasing use of the semi-subterranean pit houses. By 3,500 years ago, the bow and arrow came into common use in the Nez Perce country. This technology eventually replaced the atlatl around 2,000 years ago. Over the last 1,000 years, the Nez Perce culturally became increasingly reliant on seasonally abundant fish and root. So like if you think of potatoes and carrots and different roots. Ooh, that's food. As the population grew, large villages located along Clearwater, Snake, and Salmon rivers and their tributaries became the norm. A common thread throughout the Nimiipuu existence had been a keen knowledge of the resources present in the homelands. This included thorough understanding of where, when, and how to obtain these items. Local stone minerals and various plant species were crafted to make clothing, baskets, tools, hunting and fishing implements, shelter, and other personal items. Beautiful. Before you tell me where to put S, F, H, T, and C, I'm going to label these paragraphs. So I got first paragraph, second, third. That way you can say in the fourth paragraph or in the fifth paragraph. The fifth paragraph goes on the second page, sixth, seventh, and eighth. Okay, why don't we do this by, I want you to tell me where these things are located. Why don't you tell me where are some stories in here first? Could somebody tell me where did we... Let's start.
Paragraph 4.
The paragraph 4, you could put
Paragraph 4.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so paragraph 4, this whole section, we had stories about the coyote. Okay, lovely. Where there's actually quite a bit for food and drink. Where did we talk about food and drink? Go ahead and just tell me. You can either tell me in the chat or...
Paragraph 5, the last line.
5
Ooh.
and also 7.
Okay, so we talked about use of a broader of plants, fish, and games resources. And we actually have big game hunting here. And somebody said 7, so we've got abundant. They became reliant on fish and root resources. Beautiful. Okay, what about homes or shelters?
Homes is on the sixth paragraph, the very last line.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
homes there.
Oh, and I also found homes on the first paragraph because some of those homes were Montana, northeastern Oregon, and southern Washington.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
So this is location. Awesome catch. Thank you. Yeah, and then actually they repeat it in paragraph 5. So the Nimiipuu has been part of this land for generations. The homeland is 13 million acres. So also let's write home there. Okay, what about tools?
On the
Paragraph 8.
Paragraph 8, yep. So the very end we had tools.
Bow and arrow. Yeah, the bow and arrow.
And at paragraph 7.
Yeah, is that where they have the bow and arrow and the atlatl? Do you guys know what an atlatl is?
No.
Oh, those are so cool. I've been able to throw them. Here, I'll show you in just a second. So we've got the bow and arrow and the atlatl. An atlatl is kind of like a giant spear that you throw. Let me see if did I spell it right? The atlatl. Where is my, let me double check that I spelled it correctly. Atlatl. I think I forgot a T. Atlatl, atlatl. So you have 2 parts to it. You have, there's this back part and it has a hook and you put your spear in it and then you throw it. And it launches forward, and that's how they used to originally hunt the buffalo. So you can kind of see this piece here. There's a back part and it hooks in. The spear does. Okay. And yeah, that's how they actually used to hunt. And you throw it really hard. It's really hard to throw it straight. But that's how they used to hunt bison.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. What about clothing?
Have much of clothing, but it does say clothing right here. Like it says in paragraph 8, it says we were crafted to make clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So that'd probably be
I'm gonna also put in, I know it doesn't specifically say clothing, but in paragraph 5, the very last sentence on the first page, they are mostly reliant on big game hunting as a primary means of subsistence. I put food there, but I'm also going to put C for clothing because most people, in order to get their clothing, they didn't have fabric. They actually got their clothing, especially in Minnesota, I know, from their animals. Wyatt, did you have something to add? I just saw that your hand raised. Nope. Okay. So yeah, I put big game hunting. I also put clothing there because they didn't just use, and actually, you know what? I'm going to put tools there as well. Because with hunting, they had food. They used the bones and the horns or the antlers to make tools, like knives and different pieces. And then their clothing that's what they created most of their stuff. Awesome. Okay, so as we see, the where's my as we see, the culture of the Nimipu homeland was very important. Oh man, I've got a lot of things open. Where is my PowerPoint? Here it is. So, awesome job. We identified a lot of information about their culture. So, we actually already talked about this. We had, if you noticed in that article, there was a lot of natural resources that were provided by the earth. So we talked about some of the natural resources that the Nimipu used, and that was things like their game hunting. We talked about, they talked about even here with some of the rivers and snakes and how they got their food. Okay, so we don't have to spend a lot of time on that. One of the things that we want to focus on today. So now we're actually getting into the lesson. Whew, man, that only took us a half an hour. It's okay. We talk sometimes we go off task about looking about atlatls and stuff, and that's what makes it fun. But what I want to talk about today is an informative or an explanatory articles. Now this is an informative article. And if you actually have a sibling that is in 6th grade right now, guess what? They're writing an informative article in Spanish. So our question today is, why is a topic statement in an informative paragraph important? Okay, so first we got to figure out, what is an informative paragraph? Okay, so this article on the Nimipu homeland is an informative paragraph. We're going to look at another one. So go to handout 5B, informative paragraph on the Nez Perce homeland. Okay, so go ahead and open that up now. This is a single paragraph. And if you notice, we have actually numbers. So it actually shows it numbered each sentence, okay? So when we talk about this today, I'm going to reference these numbers, okay? So in number 7, sentence 7, okay? Now, an exemplar paragraph means that it's the best. So if you think of our rubrics, this is a really good example, okay? So that way you know what exemplar is. And we're looking at an informative paragraph. Let's look at this word, informative. You guys, what do you think? What does informative mean? Or what do you think these kinds of paragraphs show? Could you guys make a prediction for me?
Yeah, I think informative. Well, are we saying what we it means, or what do we predict? It's gonna like the
No, what do you think informative means?
I think it means like the information about something, like the articles give you information about whatever the title is.
Okay. Does anybody else have an idea?
I think it's facts, like the real facts is not opinions, but it's just facts about the native homeland.
Okay, so in this case, the facts about them, or this native homeland. Okay. Does anybody else have an idea of what informative might mean, or what an informative paragraph might have?
I agree with Riley and Harper.
Okay, which part do you agree with?
Well, I think there is facts in it, but also informative kind of comes from the word information.
Oh,
So there's information and facts.
lovely. You actually looked at the word here and found a root word, inform. So information. Hey, lovely. Does anybody else have anything before we continue? Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you, Erin. I see somebody's internet got disconnected. So what we're going to do is we are going to, yes, so we've already kind of looked at an informative paragraph. So actually, let me ask you. So you guys said it was about facts in an informative paragraph. This article that we read, does this contain a lot of facts? Yeah. Does it contain a lot of information about the Nimi Poo? Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, does it, yeah. So yeah, I think that's correct. So what we're going to do is we are going to read this article, and we are going to what we're going to think about as we're reading it is I want you to tell me about what is the main idea of this paragraph, and just in general, where is that sentence located? Okay. Yeah. So, would somebody like to read this first half?
Ken?
I don't know who said I can. Use your hand. That actually helps me with this, because then I can see it. Greta, I'm going to have you read sentence 1, 2, 3, and 4. Harper, go ahead and read. Oh, sorry. I'm going to have everybody read half. So Greta, read the first half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then Harper can read 6, 7, 8, 9 to the end. Okay? So Greta, go ahead and you can read the Nez Perce homeland.
For generations, the Nez Perce tribe had called an area of land in present-day Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Montana their native home. The Nez Perce homeland was rich in resources the people relied on in their daily lives and in the stories that sustained their culture. The forests, prairies, and rivers of the Nez Perce homeland provided a variety of resources for people to use. The Nez Perce hunted game, gathered plants and other natural materials, and fished the rivers. They counted on their homeland for food, shelter, clothing, and other tools.
Thank you, Greta. Okay, Harper.
The tribe's connection to this particular land traces back to a time before human beings existed. The tribe's creation story tells of how Coyote killed a monster and scattered its pieces over this land to create tribes, including the Nez Perce, which were made from the monster's heart. This story reveals how deeply the Nez Perce people are connected to this specific area of land. The high mountains, open meadows, deep forests, and rushing rivers of the Nez Perce homeland shaped an entire culture and way of life for the Nez Perce people.
Oh, great job, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to actually write what you guys told me. So for an informative paragraph, I'm going to write this here, and actually, I think I can write on here. Nope. I used to have something that I could write stuff, but I don't anymore. So for an information paragraph, yeah, I would agree with you guys. That was full of facts. So it contains, and you don't have to write this, but just so that you know, contains facts. Okay. It also contained information. You know what? I'm going to say contains facts and it sometimes can have a little bit of opinion. So I'm going to write little though opinion. Because no matter what article we read, there's always what we have is called bias. So then that's kind of an opinion on or a point of view on the article. So in history, there's always a bias. So maybe you're talking about one side or the other. In this case, we're talking about the Nez Perce Homelands, and where maybe it looks like maybe from the point of view from the Native Americans. Whereas if you had maybe the colonials, maybe their opinion would be different. They wouldn't say that it was or they wouldn't say that some of that land might be theirs or something. So, little opinion. So it contains information. What were some of the other things we said an informative paragraph has?
They have main ideas and lots of details.
It has main ideas and lots of details. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to know what is the main idea of this story, and where is that located? So can I have you, actually don't tell me in the web, I want you to tell me, number one, everybody, write down in the chat, what sentence do you think has the main idea? What sentence has the main idea? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What sentence has the main idea? Awesome. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 18 people told me what sentence. I can tell who is part of class. If you're not sure, look to see what other people wrote and maybe reread it, see if you agree and if you think.
Can I tell you why I think it's number 9?
Give me one, let everybody respond. I'm going to give them 10 more seconds to respond in the chat, okay? Then I would love you to share. Okay, I want other people to respond in the chat too. That tells me that you're here. Okay, if you're not sure, what did other people say? Go and read it. Do you agree? If so, put it in the chat. Okay, Riley said she has a reason why. Riley, why do you think that is the main idea?
Because normally it's in the conclusion, because the conclusion gathers all the ideas and all the they say the final idea, that main idea that they had.
Okay.
Okay.
So, does somebody else have something? Why?
Yeah. Normally I know that the main idea is either the first or the last sentence. So first I looked at the first sentence, which was kind of descriptive, but it was more like a detail. Then I read the last sentence, and it really describes the paragraph.
Yeah. So you guys, that is actually kind of a good. I'm glad that you kind of pointed out the location. So yeah, usually it is the first or last sentence, and like Riley and Iris had said, it was very descriptive. And it kind of described what this whole thing was talking about. So we know that it re-described where they lived, and they talked about the culture. Well, they talked about where they lived in here, they talked about the culture, they talked about the Nez Perce, and yeah, this kind of summed it up in one sentence, right? Awesome job, guys. So, informative texts describe, they have facts, and if we had this story that continued on, we could probably figure out what it would be about. We already talked about it. Okay, so I want you to write down in the chat and use this sentence frame. So I want you to write in the chat 2 parts in an informational paragraph. You don't have to say that work together. And I want you to write down what are 2 parts of an informative paragraph. So what are some things we talked about? So what did we say that they had? Maybe you can include something about that introduction paragraph or that main idea. But I want you to tell me in the chat, what are 2 things that an informational paragraph has now? Okay? I'm having you write it in the chat. That way you don't have to do it for homework. Okay, so write in the chat 2 parts in an informational paragraph an informational paragraph has are, what are 2 things? Just to wrap up now. Ooh, thank you for writing in a complete sentence. Thank you, those that are sharing. I should have 18 responses. 2 parts of an informative paragraph includes or has. So I see main ideas, details, opinions. They have a main idea. They have information. They have facts. Thank you for writing in a complete sentence too. Oh, I love those complete sentences. They're beautiful. I know what your topic is. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds. I want everybody to participate on this one. Sometimes I'm somebody that I don't like busy work. So instead of going through everything and writing it and sending it in, this is kind of me giving you a mini grade later on here. Okay. This lets me know that you are understanding and you're actually part of class. So I'll give you 30 more seconds. 2 parts of an informational paragraph are okay. Good job, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to keep looking at informational paragraphs. Your homework for today, and actually you'll have time to finish it, is I'm going to have you read an informational paragraph. Okay? It is not very long. It's only 2 paragraphs. So it is this first paragraph and second paragraph. What you're going to do is you're going to read this text in Schoology. Okay? And we're going to start doing some fluency homework because I want you to start practicing reading some of these big words. Some of these words you've heard, like nimi-poo. Okay. Some of the other big words in here, environment, we've talked about. We've talked about sustained, culture. And remember, I don't remember if you remember my fact, my information from earlier in the year, earlier in January. You often have to hear, see, speak, and write or read a word 12 times, a new word, in order to actually know what it is. So now we're going to work on that speaking aspect. Okay. So your homework for today is on the side under upcoming. I want you to record your voice reading this. I see some people already did this. If you don't know how to record audio, here's a video on how to show how to credit Schoology. And yes, I want you to record your voice doing this. Now, don't be surprised, but next week, you're going to have the same article and you're going to have to record your voice reading it again, okay? Because what we're going to do is we're going to read this a couple times. We're going to read it about 3 to 5 times. Ooh, what? Why? Because if we want to get better with our fluency, so if you notice, when I read some of those stories, I try to be very clear and I can read pretty fast. The only reason I can do that is because when I was younger, I practiced a lot of fluency. So we are going to reread this text a lot, 3 to 5 times, and we're going to evaluate ourselves. Okay, so just today, you're just going to read it. Okay, you're going to read it out loud, you're going to record yourself. When we have class on Monday, one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to listen to yourself. So we're going to have a whole weekend where you don't listen to it. So I want you to do it today. You're going to listen to yourself, and we're going to actually kind of grade ourselves. You're going to grade yourself, and you're going to listen to how you think it is. And we're going to do it again, grade ourselves, do it again, grade ourselves. And hopefully you will hear that your fluency and your reading will get better. Maybe you're somebody that reads aloud at home, and so it might sound pretty clear and pretty good right now, but we can always make things better, okay? Are there questions on the homework?
I have a question.
Yes.
So we find this in Schoology and we have to read it once while recording it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So you're going to read this text carefully. So the text is right here. And if you want to do a 2-screen, otherwise, actually, I think this is in your workbook. Do you guys know what page it's on in your workbook? Does it just say handout 5C?
That's what it says.
Fluency homework.
Okay, why don't you guys find...
The page right after the exemplar informative paragraph.
Okay, so everybody, I want you to find this in your workbook if you have it, because I think this is going to be easier to read. And I want you to put a bookmark there or a Post-it note. Okay. Then you're going to, I don't want you to practice reading it first. I want you just to do a cold read and read it. Are you going to stumble? Yes. Are you going to mispronounce words? Yes. That's okay, because we're going to try to make it better. Then when you go to this in Schoology, you're going to click, there's a little plus sign up here. Some of you guys already know that.
In this video, you will learn how to record audio.
So at the very top,
if it asks to record, tap the plus button.
So the plus sign, you're going to say record audio. Okay, I don't need a video, but record your audio. That's the easiest way. Some of you guys took a video and then submitted it. Sometimes the iPad changes it weird, so it's best if you record the audio. You might have to access your microphone. We did this already, so hopefully you don't have to. And you're just going to record yourself. And when you're done, stop it and press the little check mark to submit it. Okay?
Bye.
Bye. You can do that now. We will see you Monday. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Are you there, Joelle? Do you have any questions? Any questions?